STIHL Timbersports National Championships 2019, having a great summer day here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the heart of lumberjack country. We have 10 athletes competing for 5 spots in the finals. Matthew Marks, the man on top. Tommy Sanders here with Kevin Holtz, and the 2 disciplines we will be watching today, the standing block and the single buck. Let's start with the standing block. Who's got to get the job done and who's going to do the best job today, Kevin?
Well, I'm looking at Mel Lentz. I mean, he's just inside that bubble, and the guy can cut standing blocks. He's been doing it for decades. But there's a lot of guys in this field that are also really great standing block cutters that are below the bubble. Guys like David Moses, Walt Page, Matt Slingland are in a great position right now, but they cut exceptional standing blocks. This is a tough field for that discipline.
There's our STIHL Timbersports overall championship points, and look who's on top. Matthew Marks, 2 points ahead of Matt Slingerland, Walt Page, Matthew Koger, Mel Lentz hanging in the top 5. Beaudry, Moses, Wilson, Eschen, Boquin. We're ready to go with the standing block. To tell us more about our first event, here's Dave Jewett, the Duluth Trading Company Discipline Review.
Athlete versus tree. Their goal, sever a 12-inch log. This is the standing block. The standing block mimics felling a tree with a racing axe as fast as possible. When the gun fires, you have to chop halfway through the log. In order to do that, know the log, be familiar with your equipment. The best athletes will put 10 to 12 hits in the front. The elite athlete will put 6 to 7 hits in the front. The turn is a 4-step motion with speed, minding the chips on the ground which you've removed. Run to the back side with no hesitation. Open up the back with confidence, making a split decision. Do I take another chip for safety, or do I have the confidence to drive this log off?
Trevor Beaudry, Mel Lentz.
Yeah, big gap in age between these competitors, but look, you can't help but notice the body style similarities between these two. They both have that long arm, long leg, lanky swing.
Mel was real tight to the start there. I don't think he jumped it, but boy, he took everything he could get.
Oh, absolutely, might as well. Why not get every nanosecond you can out of this? He's got a lot of wood. He's got to reach out there on the far side and get Beaudry maybe able to, no,
it's gonna be Mel Lentz.
It is, it's Mel Lentz. Mel Lentz already around about 3 or 4 hits ahead and starts to get a little bit flat on the top side of that log. That really kind of pins you down. You don't have the clear wood to drive into. Left himself a lot of work in the front, but man, did he rip that off.
Here's the official time, 23.27 for Mel Lentz. Trevor Beaudry 3 seconds behind and some change. Mike Esch, 8th place after 2 disciplines. Matt Slingerland, 4th place after 2.
Matt Slingerland in an interesting life position. He's a lumberjack entertainer down in Tennessee. Not an odd choice of careers, but when you look at his college background and his college debt that he amassed, and well, he's applying it well here tonight because he's going to put in a smart cut in this standing block. He is around to the back already. He is going to be at least 3 blows ahead of Mike Esch, and it looks like from here he's got a really clean front put in this block. Oh, he's busting it apart.
Oh. Gonna be your leader.
Take a look at this cut from Matt Slingerland. First opening up driver, then a down driver, then he goes into that 2-and-2 rotation. I talk about it all the time. You gotta attack those corners. Those are just juicy bits of wood that suck the axe into the block. Going for the win. No need to clear those chips. I'll just clean it off with a giant slash and some broken white pine.
Yeah, 18.64 for Matt Slingerland. That's a strong standing block time. Esch's time, 30.04 seconds.
Went off in 8 and 8, that standing block did. I'd always like to get it in a couple less hits, but that was the original plan, so at least it went to plan. Would have liked to have been a bit faster, so we'll see how everybody else goes again.
Coming up next, 1 and 2 coming into the standing block in STIHL Timbersports Championship overall points. There's number 1, Matt Marks, your overall points leader to start this discipline.
You know, honestly, I think personally, the best cuts that I have are cuts that I don't remember. And that's the honest truth. I feel like when I go up there and knock off a single buck or a standing block or hot saw, any of these events, pure muscle memory. That's it. And if I don't remember it, then I must have done something right.
Number 2's Walt Page. There's Walt.
There's certain guys that I just like to watch in certain events. And there's some guys that do it all well, but I love to watch Walt Page cut a standing block. He typically has a beautiful, fluid motion to his swing, a great windup, and just takes the block apart, makes it look very effortless. Round the back, draws a slab. Clean them corners out. Now he's driving there.
Oh boy.
Look at it, just
Could well be your leading time in standing block. Matt Marks having trouble getting this one finished off, and there we go.
Take a look at this cut from Walt Page. This is, if you had to draw a roadmap on how to disassemble a standing block, here it is, one up, one down. Then you go far, near, near, far. That clears the way. Now he's gonna take one near to clear, to break that wood and twist the head a little bit, and then one down in the far just to finish it off. A great clinical finish for Walt Page.
Yeah, there's Walt Page's time, official 17.585. He'll take over the lead for Matt Slingerland. Matt Marks considerably behind, 26.039.
For the moment, there's a guy coming I'm pretty sure is going to beat that time, but yeah, tomorrow's the day to worry about Matt. So
Walt Page seems pretty happy about that cut. We'll have to see if his time holds up with 2 more heats to go in the standing block when we come back to Milwaukee.
Here comes the king of all lumberjacks, Mel Lentz, driving it off, and there it is. That's a perfect cut and an enormous front from Matt Slingerland at the 10-second range. Wow, Walt Page, incredibly fast.
STIHL Timbersports on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by STIHL, maker of a full line of gasoline and battery-powered handheld outdoor power equipment. Find yours at stihlusa.com. By Duluth Trading Company, the official workwear sponsor of STIHL Timbersports. And by John Deere, nothing runs like a deer.
This is the STIHL Timbersports National Championship here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We have 10 athletes competing for the 5 remaining spots in our finals. Right now in the middle of our second discipline, the standing block, where Walt Page has set the time to beat at 17.59. The top 2 heats still remaining. Coming up next are 2 contestants in heat number 4.
Athletes ready.
Are in 9th and 7th place, respectively, David Moses and Josh Wilson.
2, 1, go!
2 great standing block cutters. Josh Wilson has just grown leaps and bounds in this discipline. Great swing speed, just a thumper. Absolutely wails on this block. Hits are sprayed around a little bit, but he makes up for it with power and swing speed, and he's getting ready to clean this off. Probably one more driver, and off it goes. There we go, Josh Wilson on the near ground. He's opening 1-1, but doing it a little bit closer to him. He's rotating the whole face of that block around a little closer. Things got a little flat on the top side of that, coming in a little straight. Doesn't get you the penetration with the axe when you got a nice slope on that hit.
Wilson, lots of acceleration. when he makes contact with the wood, he's still pushing that. And yeah, better than that, 19.006 for Josh Wilson. He's in 3rd place. David Moses, 25.81. Moses in 5th. There's Mark Boquin from Springville, New York. 2 big guys here. Boquin is a big guy, and so is our defending champion, Matt Koger. Going to be shaking the stage pretty good here momentarily as we get ready for the final heat of the standing block.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oof, Mark Boquin is really, he is tight on that go, I'll give him that. But you know, you gotta be, you're up against the 6-time U.S. national champion. He put a good clean front and a bit of a small front. I don't know if when he opened it up, he knew he had a good block, an axe hang, and there it is. Look at the wood that Matt Koger just drove off. That is disgusting. Unbelievable. does open up a bit of a small front. He stepped down the top side of that log. Look at how clean the lines are to the top side of that block. Just each hit chasing the next one in. This is where things just get ridiculous. Hangs the axe over there. I think that just made him mad. and brings it back from the chandeliers to just slice through that piece.
Well, he did not take the lead in the standing block. In fact, he was just a couple of tenths slower than Walt Page. It's going to be Walt Page with 17.585. Second place, Matt Koger with 17.78. Well, there you go, Walt Page on top, and that should afford Walt Page the lead. STIHL Timbersport overall championship points. We'll check that scoreboard when we get back, and we're going to have some sawing for you when we return to Milwaukee.
Wow, Walt Page, incredibly fast.
This is the 2019 STIHL Timbersports National Championships coming to you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Here's our STIHL Timbersports overall championship points, and it's Walt Page moving from second on up to first with that win in the previous discipline. Matt Slingerland now slides into third place, and Matt Koger, defending champ, still in the top 5. That's all he has to do today. Mel Lentz, the legend, hanging in there in 5th place. We got the old misery whips out here, ready for the single buck saw.
No gas required, just pure endurance, elbow grease, and a misery whip. This is the single buck. It's a 6 to 6.5 foot saw. It's a science to make these saws. It's a science to run these saws. On go, you want to go full speed on a push or a pull stroke using the entire saw. It's a 2 to 3 peg and raker. The pegs are the teeth. They cut the wood. The rakers clean the wood. You want to use the full saw, cutting on the forward stroke, cutting on the back stroke, using every muscle in your body from your toes all the way up to your head, driving the saw with confidence through the entire log. If you deviate from your technique, you can dive a raker into the wood, bringing you to a sudden stop. Then you have to regain that momentum, losing time.
And there is Mel, getting ready to make his cut on the single buck. Lots of preparations going up against Matt Slingerland. Again, he's second place in points as it stands right now. Both of them wearing the colors of the Southern qualifier. Again, Matt's dad, Mike Slingerland, has made it. He is in the 5, the top 5 from Pool A. He will be competing in the championship tomorrow. And Mel Lentz's son, Jason Lentz, made it to the top 5. So we got a dad with a son in already and a son with a dad in already.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
A great matchup head-to-head. Got to give a nod to Matt Slingerland on this one. A little bit of a hang-up from Mel Lentz over on stand number 1. Matt Slingerland has taken extensive coaching from the likes of J.P. Mercier, his father Mike, Dave Jewett. He's learned from the best of the best. Yeah, here's a good look at Mel Lentz on the near side, wading down into the top side of this block. Wonder if that may have been a premature wedge on the part of Jason. I'm not sure. I don't want to cause a father-son. No, I guess not. I guess that wedge wasn't even in there yet. Never mind. I thought from the one angle it looked like that wedge went in a little too quick, but.
Good cut, strong cut from Matt Slingerland. He likes it. That was heat number 1. The stock saw. Getting the saw stuff put away. He's got an underhanded cut. Short period of time here, trying to hang in there in the top 5. Actually have a shot to go for his 6th United States Championship. So great to see Mel Lentz here. Matt Slingerland's time for you, a real quick official 10.91 and Mel Lentz 13.19. Here we go. Mike Esch, Trevor Beaudry.
Oh, Trevor Beaudry a little ambitious off the start. Gonna have to work now to catch up with Mike Esch. Mike Esch down through the beef of the wood. Trevor Beaudry, a broken disc. I don't know if there's enough there for him to set the saw on. There it is, Beaudry manages to complete the disc. Let's go back and take a look at it.
Both cuts are good.
Gets down to the bottom, there it is. Jammed it, put a big spring load in that saw, and at this point, you're just in salvage point mode. Here's a look at the action on stand number 2, Mike Esch. Very nice, clean cut here from Mike Esch.
Mike Esch's time, you see it right there at 12.31. Trevor Beaudry, just all kinds of trouble there, 21.36. Matt Marks in the foreground, there he is, getting ready to go with his heat at the single buck.
Athletes ready.
Stand
Matt going
to
up against
your
Walt
timber.
Page, our leader
3,
in overall
2,
points.
1, go!
I think it's gonna be a really interesting matchup. You got sort of different approaches, different styles. Oh, in trouble for Walt Page. He was really drawing that saw, and I was about to say something about Walt Page and his pace, but he is, oh, now trouble for Matt Marks.
Wow.
Just dueling hang-ups on this. You hear a lot of guys talking about how soft this wood is, and it is just drawing the saws in. We heard it from competitors in the stock saw event and now the single buck as well. So trouble starts in the background with Walt Page. There it is. Bit of an angle change at the wrong time. The saw just slams the brakes on. Matt Marks gets down here into the bottom, and as soon as he gets into the small wood at the bottom, it's just too much freight, and he's got to ease up on the pressure and pick up on the speed there a bit.
There you go, Walt Page, possibly disappointing, 3.24. He may not have that lead in overall points once the single buck is over with. And Matt Marks probably not happy with his cut either at 13.725.
Look at the speed of Matt Slingerland, halfway already at the 5-second mark. This wood is incredibly fast. He's only got about 2 strokes left to go. That was fast.
STIHL Timbersports on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by STIHL, maker of a full line of gasoline and battery-powered handheld outdoor power equipment. Find yours at stihlusa.com. By Duluth Trading Company, the official workwear sponsor of STIHL Timbersports. And by John Deere, nothing runs like a deer.
Welcome back to Milwaukee. This is the STIHL Timbersports National Championship. We're almost halfway through our Pool B competition. Walt Page is on top in points after 3 disciplines. We have 2 more heats to settle. Here in the single buck, Matt Slingerland putting down a time of 10.91 for our next competitors, David Moses and Mark Boquin. Our second to the last heat. Matt Slingerland, 10.91. The only one sub 11 we've got so far here in Pool B.
Your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Goes David Moses just pistoning down through this wood. Boquin, though, on stand number 2, putting on a clinic with that Tuatahi racing saw. Unbelievable. These rookies are just coming out, and he's got, there's more there. There's more that he can be doing, but the power and his height, he just put it all together, and that saw was eating it.
Officially, he's got the lead. We'll see if that pans out, but Mark Boquin, what a performance here in the single buck.
I was hiding in the woods. Where else would I be, right? No, I was just, I've been competing a lot over the years, but just little small competitions, and last year I was lucky enough to work down at Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and train with those guys, and that's helped me out a lot. And then finally got some equipment, so that helps too.
I mean, just an incredible single buck. I mean, just the power. You probably took less strokes than any competitor. I don't know if you know that. Great job, Mark. Big round of applause. Newcomer, and we're going to be seeing more and more of this guy, Mark Boquin.
Boy, he's big and powerful. Put down a big time, 10.50, so by 0.4 of a second. Mark Boquin takes the lead over Matt Slingerland with only 1 heat remaining in the single buck. There's Josh Wilson, one of our top 2 seeds in the single buck. He'll be going up against the champ, going for his 7th national title, Matt Koger.
3, 2, 1, go!
Look at the pace that Josh Wilson brings to this, and you contrast that with the long stroke. You talk about using the whole saw. There it is, stand number 2, Matt Koger. There is not a tooth unused on that saw.
That fast performance is our John Deere power play. Nothing runs like a deer.
Take a look at this run from Matt Koger. You can see the nose of that saw disappear. You can see those arms at full lock. We were talking about some of the guys back in Pool A that weren't extending, and then therefore they were hanging up on their attempt to return the saw back to them all the way in. That is how you cut the single buck right there.
There it is. Mark Boquin's going to take this one. Single buck goes to Boquin with a time of 10.50. Matt Koger in second, 10.74. Matt Slingerland in third, 10.91.
Feels good finally, since the first 3 events I couldn't hold my own at all, you know. So finally, finally actually doing well enough to, you know, feel good about myself. You know, I've been training like crazy to finally actually do well in one of the events. Really makes me feel a little bit better since I blew the first 3, you know. So I've been training so hard. I just want to prove to myself and everyone that I belong here, you know. So I'm just going to keep trying, keep pushing. Feels good. It feels good, yeah. Let's keep it rolling.
Well, he should feel good about that cut. It brings him up 2 spots in overall points with 2 disciplines remaining. Matthew Koger, our 6-time champion, sits on top with Matt Slingerland, Walt Page, Matthew Marks, and the legend Mel Lentz rounding out our top 5. We'll keep the chopping and sawing rolling the next time we see you here in Milwaukee when we determine our top 5 athletes advancing to the finals. For Kevin Holtz, I'm Tommy Sanders. We'll see you then.